The question was proposed by my wife, and she asked something very simple that she's asked a couple of times during my tenure, right? And it was, "Are you happy at work?" And I paused, and I said, "Yeah, I am happy at work. I have a great job. I love my boss. The company's has been fantastic, right? So, uh, yeah, I am happy at work." In that same tone. And then I said to myself, wait a minute, why did I hesitate? And why am I not like doing with 100% conviction? Because
You open my phone and you see like 90% business meeting. And if I'm lucky, maybe 10% of some meetings with friends or family. And now it's the opposite because I shifted from the hard work to the inspired work. Hello, everybody.
hey, how is everybody?
So happy to welcome you here to the first episode of our podcast, Alchemy of Success. And before Pedro and myself introduce ourselves, we first like to start with why Alchemy of Success and what does it mean for us, and very especially what could it mean for you? Because this podcast is, for you and not for us. And maybe Pedro, you would like to contemplate and explain a little more why Alchemy of Success.
Sure thing. Thank you, Anna. So, Alchemy of Success really is more about transforming, right? But what are we transforming really in this podcast? What we're transforming is perhaps the definition of success, what it actually means to you. What we're transforming is maybe the energies within us, understanding how the divine feminine energy is within the male energy and vice versa. And what we also are transforming is perhaps your perspective, how you see things from your work all the way down to your personal life. So that's what we're trying to alchemize. And success is really what is meeting a goal. That's really the definition of success if you look it up. But for me, success is a different definition. Success to me is really being happy with all the decisions that you've made in your conscious life and reaching that happiness and that joy and that peace is a successful outcome for me. And that's something that you could carry every single day with you. That feeling, that joy. That's what success means to me. So it's basically transforming any of those things that we just spoke about.
And was this always your definition of success?
Absolutely not. So no, 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 no. So back in the day, I'm not going to date myself now. So success back in the day for me was really get the job, get the title, get the money. If you're able to accomplish those things, that was a successful life or outcome for me. And that's not the case anymore, as you guys have already heard. I mean, that's simply not the case. To me, I'm simply living in joy and doing what I'm doing now, transforming careers, being an entrepreneur, but really, really servicing others and feeling the joy of doing that. That is success to me.
And can you maybe tell what you think you have missed back there in your definition of success in order to switch this definition to alchemize that what you thought is a success in your life or successful life to that what you are creating now?
Oh, absolutely. So success back then, what made me switch or transform is I was transforming the outside. Instead of looking at the outside, focusing on the outside, I was basically transforming and looking in the inside. So that's really what I used as a driving force to transform that allowed me to change into who I am today, is changing the perspective of what's outside shouldn't be affecting me in. It's really what's inside should be producing what's outside of me. So that's when you make that shift, that radical shift that I went through that path, then I see success as a different thing. And that's why that has brought me a lot of joy. But it's really the outside and inside perspective. So,
Very cool.
how about you, Anna?
My definition of success was, I think my whole life, like 39 years, I was going higher, further, faster. So that was how I act on my life. And it was similar like you. So like get the study, then get the good job, especially in a good corporate. Then came the topics with, hey, create a business because it's more successful maybe than just being an employee, or the connection of the both. At least that is what I thought. And I was like always like going higher, further, faster. And every time I had these milestones, every time I had these goals to hit, so much influence, so much money, so much success, so much people in my network and so on. But what I didn't truly realize is that, number one, and you mentioned it at the beginning, I was doing this from a place of a very strong masculine energy. So a lot of masculine traits. And don't get me wrong, masculine traits are amazing, but the moment they start to be in balance, that is what, especially for a woman acting as a man, is not healthy. So that means I brought my body to a point like a burnout or something like a burnout or bore out. So there is these two definition, and I still don't know which one of the both was it. And what I came to the realization is that what I thought is a success, it's actually what I have been imprinted on, that it's a success. So I've been told by my family, by my society, by social media. Nowadays, you open YouTube, you open whatever, and everybody shows you what it means to be successful. And if you don't live this kind of life, you cannot be happy. You cannot be fulfilled. And I can tell you that the last year, or better say at the end of 2022, when I needed to drop everything that I had, and I needed to go, like you share, from the outside world, creating success in the outside world, to look what is inside, and why, no matter how much goals and milestone I achieved, I didn't feel satisfied. I didn't felt happy. I didn't felt peaceful. So for me, it's like peace, one of the highest frequency of emotion that I like to experience throughout my day. And no matter what happens in the outside world. And when I came to this realization, and I start looking more and more inside, and I spent a lot of time with my child, with my family. For the last 20 years, I was living abroad, so I didn't spend a lot of time with my family. And I was always thinking, oh, I'm not the family person. My success, my time is about career, money, and so on and so on, and people. And actually having the chance to spend this time, I was like kind of forced to say this way. At the beginning, it felt like failure, but I can tell you now, when I look backwards, and actually when I was into the situation, I realized, oh my God, that is for me a successful life. It is to have the time with my child, to be there where he need me, to have this deep conversation, to reconnect with my family, to reconnect with nature, and yet still to develop myself, to expand my awareness, and to have amazing people around me, and to give this back, but in the balanced way. You know what I mean? It's not just the one when you open your calendar. Previously, you open my phone and you see like 90% business meeting. And if I'm lucky, maybe 10% of some meetings with friends or family. And now it's the opposite, because I shifted from the hard work to the inspired work. And I think what we want to give you today is, or not today, but with this first episode, and what you're going to experience throughout here is, and what is Alchemy of Success, is actually taking all these pieces in your life that you have, all these different areas of your life, and defining and finding your very, very personal, individual definition of success in each and every area of this life, and then finding the balance and the priority between. So you create your very, very own blueprint of success. And that is what you alchemize. So you don't take every part as a separate, but you take it as the singular pieces and bits, and then put it together and create this beautiful, align with yourself and only with yourself definition of success. And when you have this definition, then you can alchemize this and really bring it within you, because then you start acting from within. And that is what your outer world, and you're going to listen throughout the podcast, different tools and ways, and also science behind why the inner world is actually the source of the creation in the outer world. And yeah, that is for us, Alchemy of Success, truly defining your blueprint of individual success and living it to the fullest. So really you feel this inner satisfaction. You know, you're like, oh my God, I really want to rock my life. And, you know, maybe you hear now, a little from that, what Pedro and I share, for whom this podcast will be interesting, but still we'd like a little to tell you for what kind of person you should be in order for this podcast to bring you a lot of joy, a lot of expertise, a lot of aha moments. That is the best thing I love. And of course, self-realization. Pedro, maybe you can share what was the person you were when you could use this podcast?
Well, it definitely would have helped when I was younger. So
you're still young. Come on.
Yeah, 25 years in the business. It doesn't feel so young anymore, but now I do, and now I feel re-energized. So when I was younger, I could have definitely used somebody to give me a different perspective on things in general, right? Not just about how to be a success in at work, but also just in life in general. Just have somebody to actually help you understand, okay, this is happening maybe because of the following. If you see it this way, maybe you'll see this way, right? So it's just building upon having that perspective, the consciousness just being a little bit more broad, probably would have helped me avoid some painful experiences that we all have to learn, and maybe make it a little bit smoother, right? But it is what it is, and I'm grateful for it. But having somebody give you that different opinion, a different look at things, definitely is helpful, because it makes you question certain things and look within yourself and go, how can I apply this knowledge with these tools and actually broaden my entire spectrum of what I can do in this world? And that reaches every facet of your life, including your career, your personal life, right? So everything that you do, that would have been helpful, avoiding a little bit of some of these pitfalls that you go through in life.
What I like to add to this is, I think if you are a kind of person that you have created kind of successful life, or maybe even a very successful life in the definition, in the world definition, and yet you sit there and you ask yourself, it needs to have something more. There is something missing. There is something that I still have the cars, the relationship, the money, the career or whatever, but within, it's not feels like this warming, fulfilled, satisfaction within myself, you know? So that is where I started. I had everything, like my family, amazing family, child, career, but I started questioning, you know, I'm missing something, and I had no idea what. Because I thought the path I'm going is the right one. So what I'm actually missing, you know, and that is how I started this personal development, and just questioning and looking, like you said, by yourself here and there and there. So if you're at this cross point in your life where you just want to see, is there something more? Or is this the lie, or is the lie I have been living the whole time has to offer more than I think that it can offer? Because for me, in my life, I thought, you know, I'm not coming from a business family. I'm not coming from multi-millionaires. So for me, it's like go and study and go and cooperate. And that is how you can create a successful free life. For me, to become an entrepreneur wasn't even in my sphere, even in my, idea of thinking, you know, because of how I grew up and because of the influences I had. And by starting just questioning and going deeper and deeper, I start realizing everybody can start nowadays, easier than ever, if we need to be honest. So that means if you're already on the path of like self-realization, self-awareness, reflection, and if you're willing, coachable, and really like curious how your life can be even like more juicy, like more fun. Definitely that's the place to stay. And of course, immediately to follow our channel, because you're going to get a lot of insights, tips and tricks and so on in this area. And maybe that's just a perfect, sentence to just go, what you can expect here. What kind of topics we're going to talk about? What are the values, you can gain from listening and engaging with us. So Pedro, maybe you'd like to, jump on this question.
Sure thing. We're going to be talking a lot of different topics, and they range from the following. Number one is, okay, how to be a leader. That is something that's so critical in many different parts of your own life, right? Not just in the career, but also how to be a leader at home, right? How does that extend to your partner, to your children, to your family, right? Your inner circle. What does leadership actually mean, right? How to get that perfect job with the right intention of what that perfect job should mean to you. So instead of just focusing on the outcome, meaning it has to be the money, it has to be the title, maybe we brought in that perspective of what the perfect job really is for you. And the only way you do that is by just taking in some inputs that we might give, right? Little opinions, different perspectives, and then you figure out what is perfect or perfection or joy. More importantly, what is joy to you? Then what is success to you, right? With that next job that you want to take. Also, how to do interviews, and how do you interview in life? What I mean by that is when you ask the right questions in life, just like in your career, you are going to get the right answers. Okay. And that is a pivotal point in anybody's growth, wherever you are. Asking the right questions of the self, asking the right questions to the person that's interviewing for that role, asking the right questions to your future employer. Those are key to really opening things up for you to really start seeing what's really deep inside and what's really out there, what's really true in front of you, right? Those are the kind of topics we will be discussing amongst many, many others. But I'm just giving you a flavor for that. The topics will be career centered, but also what is the personal aspect of that topic or choices, right? So we're trying to bridge both gaps, not just talk about career, but also talk about the personal. How do you see yourself differently? So that's really our focus, is understanding how we blend all these different topics into the entire ecosphere that is you. That's what we're aimed to do. I hope that helps.
That is amazing, Seth. And the thought that I just came in my mind is actually, and that is a quote, I don't know from who is the origin, because I heard it from different people, but how you do anything is how you do everything. So that means everything what you're gonna experience here and you're gonna learn here, you can implement immediately in all the areas of your life. Whether it's about discipline, whether it's about reflection, whether it's about communication, whether it's about, like Pedro said, asking the right question, because the right question gives you the solution like that. Very often we ask the question that are focused on the problem instead of the solution. And to learn this was for me also a key, skill, as, throughout my business career, when I, started connecting with different people from different area. How many people are just tired of getting always this like stupid, monotone question that everybody asks. And I somehow came to some original kind of question or topics that nobody asked them. And the way how you can connect with people that are on different levels, like CEOs, like famous people or whatever. So when you ask the right question and you show the right attitude, so that means also to have the attitude to listen, and to listen not only what the person says, but also to their body language. So you're able to really understand and grab this subtle, communication that is given to you. That is also something very important, because our body language gives more than what we say, the frequency what we say. And one topic that we both love, and why we came to this podcast, or especially why we came to the idea to do this podcast as two personality, coming both from corporate world, but very special as a woman and a man, is the topic of feminine and masculine energy. And feminine and masculine energy has nothing to do with a man or a woman. So it's something that everybody you have within you. So you have a feminine side of you and you have a masculine side of you. And what is important for us is to understand these energies within you, these dynamics, to understand yourself better, but also to be able to understand better also the opposite gender, because typically a woman has more feminine traits than a man. Typically, a woman is a cycle personality than a man. So we have a different kind of energy and way how we go throughout the whole month than a man have it. And it's everything scientific based, based on our hormones and our DNAs. And when we start to really understand ourselves, you're not only going to have a way better connection to your team, a way better connection to your peers, a way better connection to your relationship, to your friends, to your children. Everything will just go to a next level, because when you start realizing this, reflecting, you just tap into your evolved version. And I love this one, to really embody your evolved authentic version. And with this more aware, self-aware and reflect version to proceed your world, your environment. And when you change, everything changes around you, so these are some of the topics, and you're going to get tools and techniques and experiences in a different direction, because the idea that we have is, as Pedro and I, we have such a wide expertise in all the areas, that I love to use this, picture, imagine as like a beautiful field full of flowers. And that means you come here and you grab maybe today, roses and sunflowers, and you put it on your table. And that is what you want to experience this one week or this one day or this one month. And then you can decide next time that you're going to put this away and take some other flowers that you want to experience and to enjoy in your day. And that is how it's here. You're going to have this wide, possibility of flowers, this beautiful garden, and you can decide which flowers you want to take and go more deeper into this direction. So that's why it will be very colorful, very interesting in the different areas, and we'll have the masculine and the feminine aspect. We'll have the empathy as a leader and the structure that we still need when we want to achieve goals. When we have a deadlines at work, Pedro, you can speak more about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's give these folks an example of what we actually mean here. So one of the topics will be leadership. So one of the key things to be a great leader that I found from personal experience, and I will talk about my background later on, is you need to have empathy. Empathy for your employees and empathy for really anybody, right? Anybody that you meet or anybody in your corporate setting or outside of your work. So the reason empathy is such a powerful attribute to embody is, number one, that is part of your feminine energy, even if you are masculine. Because if you're able to connect to somebody at the most personal level, you don't need to know their personal details, but just empathize with maybe their struggles, which could be affecting their performance at work, right? And also, obviously, we all have goals to meet. But if you're able to empathize with what's going around you, with the people that work for you and those people that are maybe your peers, then you're able to connect at a deeper level, and you will see that there is more energy in what they do, because they know that they can talk to somebody as a human being, not somebody that's external like a robot, or somebody that's just pushing down orders, somebody that's actually leading them through not only their struggles at work, but also understanding that there is something outside of work. So empathy for me has been huge for my career. I've been able to connect with many, many people in my organizations. And it has allowed me to really open up this broader perspective of how we can motivate people without having to be so robotic and so down driven from a management style, right? Where it becomes an order versus just showing them how to lead and how to be leaders themselves. But you have to empathize with what's happening with them. So, and empathy is, like I said, is a feminine energy. So, how do we tap into that? How do we see it differently as a man, as a masculine individual, right? Understanding that the powers that that has within you, and how you can actually take that trait and keep embodying it outside of work. And you will see how productive and how beautiful your life can become, even more so than maybe it is today, by just understanding that trait that's already within you, but tapping into it and really understanding the full definition of it and how to embody it. So that's just one example of a trait from leadership that has the masculine feminine energy, right? That we were talking about, the merging of the two, but how to really be self aware of it and how to use it to help you out in your career and also help you out in your personal life.
That's very beautiful. And empathy, I was thinking, when I was like leading my team, is sometimes, okay, if I'm way too empathic, then maybe, I'm not allowed to talk straight ahead, because sometimes we have a deadlines, we have structure, or we have something to deliver. But empathy has nothing to do with what we say, but more about how we say it. And it has nothing to do, with, like, okay, because this person doesn't feel good today, that we just put the work aside, but it has more to do of being compassionate towards the situation, and yet giving the person another view on the situation. Like, okay, that is what you're struggling, no matter what is the level of details we know about that. What is if we take this shortly aside, and I'm willing to give you more freedom, maybe to have the next 2 days free or whatever. What is it? We just need to deliver this one. So a good leader is to become a good navigator between the goals that need to be met on some level, and yet on the other side, to not burn out your teams. And that is because I have seen a lot of, team members that went burnout, and they wasn't able to communicate what are their struggle. And it was not always because the work was too much, but because they had all this topic. Because when they come to the work, you cannot let your family or your problem at home and the other side. But maybe as a good leader, you can lead them to this spot, to this sweet spot, where they can still know, okay, this problem is still there. I just put it aside next to me on the chair. It's not gone, but with a good compassion, and I can focus on this work. And after that, I know I get the needed space to take care of this. Because let me be honest, work-life balance for me personally never worked. I'm the kind of person where I always said it's a life integration. And like you, Pedro, said, when you work what you love, and this could be in corporate, could be an own business, this could be a mixture of that. So you can be an entrepreneur, you can be a workpreneur. So that's my definition for someone acting as an entrepreneur, but in a company, you can be everything, what you like, what really resonates with you and makes you feel good. And when you do it really from this joyful, exactly, with this like inspiration and joy and talent, you're going to enjoy it. But yet, even if you love it, you're going to have moments where there is some challenges coming here and there. And to understand on the one side, okay, I can be my own leader, but I have also leaders who lead with these traits, so I know even if this person talks straight ahead with me in this masculine direct communication of logic and deadlines and structure, but putting the empathy, what is the feminine side, is that what really create this juicy mixture of the both. And now with all this said, maybe it's finally on the time to tell me who we are and why we think that we have enough experience and expertise to talk about this topic. So Pedro, you can go and start with this.
Sure. So I've been in corporate many years, and obviously a lot of different roles, from starting to management to executive levels, and a lot of different companies, from startup all the way to multinational corporations. So basically, go from 9 employees to over 20,000 worldwide. So I've worked in many different industries and different sizes of companies, as I stated. So I had all this experience. I have what I've done in the past, and I've learned a lot of things, good and bad, mistakes that I've done at work. So I'll share what not to do as well, or at least share my point, and then you could do whatever you want with it. And also the successes, right? Well, what has allowed me to be successful in my career, and how have I navigated some of these tough challenges and tough waters that we have? Because I've been there. I've been with the insane deadlines that we have, right? I've been with the restructurings. I've been with the shifts, the corporate shifts that have to take place, right? I've been through all of that and some. And I've been even hired to specifically, literally transform departments as I come in, for whatever reason that I needed to do. So I'll share as much as I can of what I've done, but it's really leaning on those experiences. Now, let's take another focus of, I'm also now an entrepreneur. So now I've lived the corporate life. Now I'm transitioning over to the entrepreneurial side, having my own business. And amongst all of that, in my personal life, I've gone deep into the deep introspection of the self, really learning about who I am, what makes me happy, what drives me, right? Well, what motivates me, but also what fulfills me. At the end, when I go to bed, I am in a clean slate. I am at peace. I sleep well because of what I've done today. I am happy and I'm proud. Of course, we're all human, but I am proud of what I've done that day. So, like, how to get to that state, right? That state of continuous peace and calm, right? Yes, you have your tough days, but how do you achieve that momentum? It's really what I can share with you guys as well. So, how do you merge all these things together? Is sort of the broad spectrum of my experience. Is been in the corporate, private, then entrepreneur, and amongst all of that is just diving deep into the self. So I'll share all these different perspectives and how I'm going to blend all of them together with every single topic that we do. Hopefully, it will start something inside of you.
I think you missed something because you share what you did before, and that you're now in creating, having your own business. But you want to share
the shift
direction, of course, the shift.
All right, let's talk about the shift.
Let's talk about the shift.
So, my last job, I was an EVP of finance in the commercial team, which basically means I'm in charge of month ends. I'm also in charge of all the top clients, being in front of them, navigating those waters, and making sure that they understand the commercial aspect of that. So that was my last private role. And I had something deep, a deep experience happened to me. And it all started with a very simple question. And I go back to, questions are so important because questions are the answers. Because questions lead you to the solutions of what the answer is, right? So it all started with a very simple question over breakfast, believe it or not. A lot of stuff actually happens to me in the morning. But anyway, so the
That's
question was...
That's another topic to talk about.
You get clarity at morning and at night. Yes, absolutely. So the question was proposed by my wife, and she asked something very simple that she's asked a couple of times during my tenure, right? And it was, "Are you happy at work?" And I paused, and I said, "Yeah, I am happy at work. I have a great job. I love my boss. The company's has been fantastic, right? So, yeah, I am happy at work." In that same tone, and then I said to myself, "Wait a minute, why did I hesitate? And why am I not like doing with 100% conviction?" Because I like, I'm probably not happy. Maybe I'm not happy. So I literally just crossed my arms, leaned back, and in the chair, I simply closed my eyes. And I kid you not, when I closed my eyes, I started seeing images of when I was truly happy in the last 20 plus years while I was working. Not at home, but when I was working. And guess what? It wasn't a promotion. It wasn't when I was getting awards. It wasn't when I was getting the bonuses. It wasn't about any of that stuff. The images that were shown to me that were so personal and so deep that I felt it in my heart was when I was actually helping somebody. When I saw those images, the joy that was filled inside of me just popped outside. I mean, it was something that I felt it in my core. And every single image that I saw, I felt the same way. And everything was just helping other people. That's when I was my happiest. So guess, so when that was the little experience was over, I opened my eyes. I told my wife, "You know what? Maybe I'm not really happy." I fell into the illusion that I was happy because of what others tell you what is success, right? So, but I wasn't really joyful at work, apparently. I was at home, but I wasn't at work. And obviously, we spend a lot of time at work in our careers. We dedicate a lot of time, precious time in our careers. So it made me realize that maybe I am done with corporate, not just done with this job, but just in corporate in general. Like maybe I'm supposed to be doing something else, but it's focused on helping other people, being service to humanity in some way, my own little special way, whatever that was. But that's when I realized I need to do something else. So then I started this whole process. I took a deep jump into the abyss because of my demands are pretty strong with the role that I was doing. So I couldn't do this as a part-time gig, right? I just couldn't balance that part out because I also want to honor and I love the time that I have with my spouse, right? So I wanted to make sure that I don't go down that path. So I needed to jump. And when I jumped, I went through this massive self introspection, right? And really diving deep about who am I, what's going on, what are the triggers, what are the lessons, what are my traits, and how have they surfaced in the past and recently, right? And what do I really want to become? And the most important question that I had to begin that entire journey, we go back to the questions. Who am I? I mean, who am I really? Who is Pedro? What am I here to do? So that started the unraveling of just looking at different layers of myself, right? And then it eventually, as you follow the cookie crumbs, right? You're led to where you need to be. And then what I was led to be was basically hypnotherapist, like really focused on hypnosis and helping people access that deepest part of themselves through the subconscious, right? Through the connection of something that cannot be explained. Okay. Access that deepest part of themselves to really unblock and really remove all these dogmas that we've been fed since we were young. Understand our childhood, understand our upbringing, but understanding how we're all connected and understanding how we all resonate in this vibration of love and forgiveness and happiness, but just living a better life in general. And these people that I've been blessed to see, all these clients that I've had over the last 2 years has been just so rewarding to me. And I realized that in the 20 something years working, it just takes one day with a session with a client to bring me that much joy wrapped into the 20 something years. And that's when you know you're doing the right thing that you're supposed to be doing. And that's when you know that this is your path. So, so now I do that for a living. I help people globally, locally, and just really get in touch with themselves and unravel all these deep rooted questions and traumas, if they're traumas, right? But it's also motivation. How do I motivate myself to be the best version of myself, right? So that's really what I do now, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it.
And you know what is interesting? I used to think of hypnosis as like you go there and then the person made you do things that you don't want to do and so on. And actually, hypnosis is that what, and there is like science after science, you know, so we are acting around 95% out of our subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
So like imagine like the iceberg, and only 5% during our day, we're acting consciously. So that means, for example, me and Pedro currently talking to you. It's a conscious decision. It's a conscious action. And maybe this will have the whole 5% for the whole day. You know what I mean? And then the rest of the 95 is everything that has been stored layers after layers after layers after layers, starting from our birth, childhood, and so on and so on. So there is a lot of deep science in psychology, in quantum physics, in institutes like HeartMath Institute, brain researchers, and so on, that we know now that 95% is everything stored. So that means when I realize, like you also said, that 95% from my day is running on an autopilot. It's a program that in some time in my life has been written on my software. And this software, when it comes in a if then, it just starts, you know. And why I say if then? Because I used to study computer science, coming from the programming language. And when I realized, oh my God, if I have these programs that run 95% of my day, the only way to change my life is to consciously, with the 5%, not possible to change my life, but consciously to use this 5% and to use tools like hypnosis and other tools and techniques to go and reprogram all this programming to do that what I now want by defining who I am. Like you said, what are my standards? What are my values? What are my boundaries? For example, me, I moved to the country where I'm now still living, Germany, and I went on this path of, computer science, or having two studies, one more creative, one more like, logic oriented. So one masculine, one more feminine, to say this way. And then I went into the corporate world, and I was like more than 12 or 14 years. I forgot, I need to calculate. And I was working in a very strong masculine dominated area, and I love it. I always wanted to work in a management position, having teams, working in computer science, and I really enjoy it. And yet, like I shared at the beginning with you, I was acting from a strong masculine energy. So with this higher, further, faster, being very like, elbow society, a lot of competition, a lot of, ego-driven direction that I didn't really like, but I learned to navigate it, and I learned to make a career, and I learned to find somehow my spot there. And I enjoy it. Like you say, I enjoyed working with people. So I was always working with people, always in team. And yet the realization that you share that hit me 2018, that for 40 years of work here, especially in Germany, I have less than 4 years of vacation. And I was sitting right there when I get this realization on the beach, on a vacation in Thailand. I started questioning, is this the way how I want to live my life? That was my question, because I realized freedom is like my highest value. And work 40 years for somebody, it means that I need 40 years to like align my life with the schedules, with the Monday to Friday and only the 30 days vacation. I think in America, you're way worse than in Germany.
Let's not bring that up.
I know. But yet, I'm grateful for all of this, and I had amazing experience in all the companies I was working, working with amazing people, expanding across the world. But yet when I realized my highest value is freedom, and I only have 4 years to live my life in freedom till I go to the pension, I was like, am I willing to trade my time for money? And the answer was immediately like, hell no. And that is where my brain started searching, okay, what can I do? And, when you start reprogramming and asking the right question, suddenly some kind of opportunities coming I don't know, like champions after like rain, out of the ground. And I was like, wow, I had no idea that this opportunity exists and this opportunity exists. And I was doing it just part-time, tapping like step by step into the entrepreneur or part entrepreneurship. Some people will say that's not the true entrepreneurship. See it like you want it. I learned a lot of skills throughout this time for marketing, sales, communication, networking, leadership, a lot. And I think everybody has this within, that we feel more joyful when we help somebody else than when we achieve something for ourselves. And that was also me. That's why all the businesses after that I was doing was connected with people, with helping people to tap into their evolved version, to really realize what they truly want to do, what is their excitement. And that was the shift where I also started doing emotional intelligence coaching, and the topic to bring emotional intelligence in leadership, in management, was like one of my passion, or still is the passion to bring this emotional component into the management and switch it to leadership, that we spoke about before. And especially I came to the realization the last few months very, very deeply, but like the last 3 years, I enjoy helping women that work in the same masculine energy as me, creating their successful life, out of this masculinity, to see within me a reflection of them and to help them rebalance this energy, to help them really tap back into the feminine traits, into that what is our nature. And it doesn't mean, to put the masculine aside and just to embody the feminine, but really balance it and to realize where do you want to be more feminine and where you want to be more masculine. Because I was in my relationship having the pencil. I was masculine energy, like you do anything, it's like you do everything. So, like in the corporate world, I was bringing it back at home, and this is how, this urge for freedom, for really experience the freedom, and then later the peace. Because now I know freedom, a true freedom for me is this inner peace. No matter what's outside, no matter where I am, even like Nelson Mandela being in the prison for so many years, but still being able to keep the spirit of freedom within, and that is what inspires me, to give you my experience, how to become more peaceful, how to create more peaceful life, how to be more peaceful with who you are. Stop judging you, because I was like the queen of judgmental for myself. Be more compassionate, love yourself more. And yet, and that is very important for me to say here, because Pedro and I, we're not anymore in corporate, doesn't mean that this podcast means that you should go out of corporate, or we got to bring you topics in order to inspire you to let off corporate. No, because I know now with the person I am now that I can go back in corporate, and if I go in the area where I enjoyed, like talent development, like bringing back this emotional intelligence into leadership, I'm going to love it, what I'm going to do. And I'm going to communicate what I need and how is the way how I work and so on. But back there, I wasn't so aware of who I am. So I went to the same path as Pedro, of course, individually through self-reflection, self-awareness, going deep, 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 cleansing, declaring, and changing these programs, and now I can go and I can do and incorporate. So that means you can now use our wisdom, and please, please, please use us as like we are your time machine. We're the one, we go through the whole shit. We pick up the whole, the whole ups and downs in the most extreme situation. And now we are sharing this wisdom, this experience with you, and you grab it and you see what's resonate with you. And then you can contemplate for yourself. Is it corporate the place you love to stay, like this workpreneur or whatever you like to call yourself? Or is it you want to create a business, or is it a mixture of it? So please, that is so important for us, because we want also with our wisdom to create more awareness also in corporate companies, in large companies, how important is also to give this freedom to the employee so they can thrive and expand and grow in the company, and yet still be willing to connect with the vision, to connect with the mission, to really put their energy and time and to bring it into fruition, because they can really align. Because when company realize how important it is to empower their employee and to become the leaders in every situation, then they're going to keep the best people in their company. I promise you, so that's why I just wanted to put this here very clear. That was our path, but it doesn't need to be your path. Yeah.
Yeah, like Anna said, just take what resonates with you, right? And it's just if it makes you question, even if it's just one thing about maybe yourself or what's around you, and allows you to actually start going a little deeper, and then start pulling the thread and see if there's more joy in your life that maybe you haven't seen yet, then that's fine. And that's all it needs to be. And that is beautiful. So it's not about shifting, making these massive shifts. It's just about, how do I see my day to day, and can I live a more conscious, fulfilled life in whatever I do, whatever I'm passionate about? Like I said, it's your own definition of success. Or we're just hopefully sharing information with you that will help you alchemize that thread of joy, further enhancement, further consciousness, right? So that's really what it is. And to Anna's point about how passionate she is in talking to these women at these very powerful, high positions, right? And understanding that masculine energy with them themselves, I am so happy to see that in my own practice, there's so many males now coming to me. And now the ratio is more 60-40, 60 female, 40% male, because we have been fed so many dogmas. We've been raised a certain way of how we have to keep everything in and don't let anything out. And that has just created a very stressful life. Forget about work. I mean, this in general, just a very stressful life, right? And then you start experiencing triggers and all these things. So how do we bring balance to that? And to see that more males are coming now, and they're being more open with their stories and the challenges that they're going through, and to get these results and to get something out of them that they didn't know it was buried for some 30, 40, 50 plus years, right? That's crucial. And even go to the younger people. So this is for everybody, no, regardless of your age, really, regardless of your age. Because I personally have seen in my own practice, age is just a number. Because you could have stuff that started at your very early age, from when you were a child, that you did not know that you were carrying all these different traits into your adulthood. So you could be 20 and start understanding, wait, what's going on with me? Why am I this way? You could be in your 30s, 40, 50, doesn't matter your age. But to allow yourself to be open and go deep within and then see, okay, now I know what to do in my career. Now I know how to do this. I know how to do this at home. Now I know how to basically take care of my body. It has so many different facets. So that's why whatever we share with you is shared out of our pure experience. And obviously also experience means not just what we went through, but people that we've spoken to at all these events, all these conferences, right? So that's also part of our experience. So it's not just a singular perspective of us going through it, but also understanding, speaking to people that have been through it as well. And
And speakers,
obviously,
oh, sorry.
and we will also be looking for people, like interviewing different people, not just us too, right? And I know Anna is gonna dive into this a little bit more, but it's not just us two all the time. We might bring industry experts, experts about the self, experts about, things at work and career, right? So that is our goal, to bring you the best people with the deepest experience to hopefully open something inside of you. And Anna, you could sort of dive into a little bit more about that.
Exactly. I just wanted to share that, all the knowledge and wisdom you and I have gathered throughout this years, it's just see it as like we are synthesizing it for you. We are like putting it here in a more like, in a place where you can choose what is resonate more with you, and then you can go deeper there. And like Pedro said, because we have this wide perspective of wisdom and in some area also deeper expertise, but we have a large network of international experts in every areas, from science to Bayesian wisdom, up to psychology and also leadership skills, sales skills, communication, whatever, so you're going to experience us. Sometimes we both talking about a topic. Sometimes we have someone as a guest to share their expertise and to give you more deep dive into these areas, or maybe sometimes just the one or the other one. So we're going to be exploring a little here, the way how we're going to bring this, depending on the topic, what fits best in this moment. And, what we want to also share with you is you can expect to see us every Wednesday morning, or depending on when you're on the earth. So every Wednesday, I would just say like that. Of course, if you have specific topic, questions, idea, please put it into the comments.
Absolutely.
We're really looking to serve you, to give you the topics that it's most interesting currently for you or that are more challenging for you now. So when you put it into the comments, we gonna grab it and create an episode around this. Or if we don't have the expertise, we're just gonna bring the right experts. So don't worry about that. And because I'm sitting in Germany currently, Pedro is sitting in USA, it's for us very interesting to find out where across the globe are you currently sitting watching this. So drop in the comments. And of course, like I said before, don't forget to follow, to subscribe and hit the small bell, so that you don't miss any of the new episodes coming. And if you have people around you, and I remember when I was in corporate or even, in, my business, I always have the right people that could be also as interesting for them as me. So just share it, because when you share it, you have not only that you can transform, but you have also the people around you to transform and to become more aware. And how beautiful is it when this expansion happens not only for you, but also for your environment. So you have even more topics and direction, to talk about that and to have more deeper experience, from your own relationships. Sometimes it's your partner on your side. I'm always sharing what I learned also with my son. Like Pedro said, my son is 12 years old and he has his own coach, so there is not an age to say, okay, from this age you start and this age you end. It's like for everybody. And if you're 150, it's also something that you can grab from here. Don't worry. Maybe the new
But if you're
trends
one,
the new trends in artificial intelligence, you know?
but if you're 150, reach out to me. I want to know what's your secret.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, drop the comments. We're going to invite you here. And I think for today, it's enough said. And we're so looking forward to see you next Wednesday. back on the channel. And thank you for giving us the most precious thing you have in life, and that's your time and your attention.
Yeah.
And we hope that you could get something back for you, a wisdom, a diamond, a seed that can create a beautiful plant.
Thank you so much for your time. Heartfelt. And may you reach the path of enlightenment in your own way, whatever that is to you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.